Last summer, a rider named Marco was headed east on the Long Island Expressway when he hit a steel plate in a construction zone. It had rained 20 minutes earlier. His front tire touched that plate, and it was like riding on ice. The bike slid out from under him before he could even react. A steel plate motorcycle accident like Marco's happens more than you think during construction season on Long Island. In this video, I'm going to show you why construction zones are so dangerous for riders, who's actually responsible when you go down, and what to do to protect yourself and your case. Let's start with the thing that almost nobody outside the motorcycle world understands. Steel plates are deadly for riders. You've seen them, those big metal sheets laid across roads, cuts and trenches where utility or construction crews are working. In a car, you barely notice them. You roll right over. But on a motorcycle, everything changes. Here's why. Your car has 4 wide tires spreading contact across a broad surface. Your motorcycle has 2 narrow tires with a contact patch about the size of a credit card. That tiny patch is the only thing connecting you to the road. When that contact patch hits smooth steel, your traction drops dramatically. A dry steel plate already has a fraction of the grip that asphalt gives you. Add a little rain, morning dew, or even humidity, and that plate becomes almost frictionless under a motorcycle tire. Now, think about what happens when you need to brake on one, or when you've leaned into even a slight turn. That contact patch, it can't hold. The tire breaks loose, and at highway speed, you're on the ground before your brain even registers what happened. That's exactly what happened to Marco. 20 minutes of light rain on a steel plate that had no texture, no anti-skid coating, and no warning sign. Just a flat sheet of steel sitting flush with the road on the LIE. But steel plates aren't the only threat in a construction zone. Let's talk about gravel. When construction crews work on road surfaces, the runoff is loose gravel, sand, and debris. It spreads into the travel lanes. Sometimes it's at the edge of the work zone. Sometimes it's scattered across the full lane. For a car, it's a minor convenience. For a motorcycle, loose gravel is like riding on ball bearings. Your tires can't find grip. Your front end washes out. And if you're braking into a construction zone where traffic is slowing down, that gravel can put you on the pavement instantly. The combination is what really gets riders. You're navigating a construction zone on Long Island. The lanes are narrowed. There's gravel in the lane. Then you hit a steel plate. You never had a chance. So here's the question that most riders never think to ask. When you crash in a construction zone because of a steel plate or loose gravel or poor signage, who's responsible? Most people assume it's just bad luck, road hazard, nothing you could do about it. That's wrong. In New York, construction companies that work on public roads operate under permits issued by the Department of Transportation. Those permits come with specific requirements. Contractors are typically responsible for maintaining safe conditions in and around that work zone. That includes properly securing steel plates so they don't shift, ensuring a plate has adequate traction, whether through texture, coating, or other treatment, placing warning signs and markers so drivers and riders know the plates are there, and keeping loose gravel and debris cleaned up from those travel lanes. When a contractor skips those steps, when they drop a smooth, unmarked steel plate into the road and walk away for the night, that's negligence, plain and simple. But it's not always just the contractor. The city or the county that issued the permit also has obligations. In New York, municipalities can be held liable for dangerous road conditions, but there's a catch. For most road defects, you have to prove the city had prior written notice of the hazard. That means someone had to have reported the specific problem to the city before your accident. If nobody filed a complaint or a 311 report about that steel plate or that gravel, the city may argue they didn't know. Here's where it gets important. There are exceptions. If the city itself created the dangerous condition, or if the hazard came from work done under a city permit, the prior written notice rule may not apply. And against the contractor directly, you don't need prior written notice at all. Standard negligence rules apply. They created the hazard, they're responsible for it. I want to hear from you on this. Have you ever hit a steel plate or ridden through a construction zone that felt like a death trap? Tell me where it was and what happened. Drop it in the comments. I read every single one. So, how do you figure out who's responsible? Start with the plate itself. Many contractors weld their company name or initials right into the surface of the steel plate. Next time you see one, look at it. You might see a company name stamped right into the metal. That tells you exactly who put it there. If there's no name on the plate, look for permit information. Construction zones in New York are required to post permit numbers and contractor contact information. It's usually on an orange side at the edge of the work zone. Write it down, take a photo. You can also call call 311 in New York City or contact a local DOT office on Long Island. Give them the location and ask who holds the permit for that work zone. That information is public record. And here's something most riders don't know. Making that 311 call also creates a paper trail. If the hazard isn't fixed and someone else gets hurt, that call becomes evidence that the city had notice. Now, documentation is everything, and you need to move fast. Construction sites change daily. That steel plate that took you down could be gone tomorrow. The gravel gets swept, the signs get moved, the evidence disappears. If you go down in a construction zone, here's what you need to do before you leave the scene if you're physically able. Take photos and video of the steel plate, the gravel, the lack of warning signs, everything. Get wide shots that show the construction zone layout and close-ups of the plate surface. Photograph any permit signs or contractor names posted at the site. Get the names and numbers of any witnesses. If there's a contractor name on the plate, photograph that. Note the weather conditions. Was it wet? Was there dew? Was it dark? Write down the date, time, and exact location. This evidence could make or break your case. I've handled construction zone motorcycle cases where the entire site was cleaned up within 48 hours. If the injured rider hadn't taken photos at the scene, there would have been nothing to prove what caused that crash. One more thing. In New York, if you're filing a claim against a city or municipality, you have to file a notice of claim within 90 days of the accident. Miss that deadline and your claim against the city is gone. Against a private contractor, you still have a longer window, but waiting doesn't help. Evidence fades, witnesses forget. The sooner you document everything and talk to somebody who handles these cases, the stronger your position. Summer on Long Island means peak construction season. Every year, the roads are torn up from the LIE to the local streets. Steel plates, gravel, lane shifts, rough transitions, all of it. And every year, riders go down because contractors cut corners and nobody's watching. Now, you know what to look for. And you know when a construction zone takes you down, it's not just bad luck. Somebody made a decision that put your safety at risk. And in New York, they could be held accountable for it. If you've ever had a close call with a tailgater while riding, check out my video on how to deal with tailgaters on a motorcycle. That one's a must watch for every rider. And if you or someone you ride with has been hurt in a construction zone accident, I handle these cases. There's a free consultation link in the description. Ride safe out there, and I'll see you on the next one.